And we are live. What's going on YouTube Live? It is your boy Billy Rowe. Today is Wednesday. I'd like to welcome you to the first row. And if it is Wednesday, you should know what that means by now. It's time for the Wednesday word. That's Wednesday word. Jumping straight into it. Tonight's topic is positive evaluations. As always, I like to share what I mean by my topic. So, what do I mean by the topic positive evaluations? Whew. What I mean is that in life, what we typically do is when things go wrong, we take time to reflect, see what went wrong, and try to fix things. But very rarely in life, when things are going right or when things are positive, we very rarely take the opportunity to look at them. It's almost like that mentality: nothing broken, nothing to fix. So tonight I have three tools for you for the first row, tools for the first row that I want to give you when it comes to really looking into these positive evaluations. Let's jump straight into it. What's going on, brother Bruce? Hey, Bruni, welcome. So for tool number one, when it comes to positive evaluations, this tool is really important. Is don't let how things are going determine whether you evaluate or not. Again, what got this concept going in my mind was when things were going bad in my life at any time. I mean, you take any bad situation that I've ever been in my life. I was always willing to jump in, evaluate. How do I fix this? How do I make this better? How do I, how do I apologize and get the girl that I cheated on to come back to me? How do I fix my credit? How do I do all these things that I need to do when it was a negative situation? However, when things were positive and when things were going well for me, I never took the time to really look inward to see why things were going so well. So this first tool really is about looking at the positive and not just looking at the positive, really looking at your life and reflecting on your life in general. So what I mean by that is regardless if things are good or if things are bad, be willing to have a regularly scheduled time, whether it's a week, a time of the day, a month, a year, have a regularly scheduled moment where you're going to do a check-in with yourself. I liken this to being in a house. Sometimes when you're in a house, I can go to pretty much any faucet in my house and turn on the faucet and water will come out. Water's coming out. Great. So then I would assume nothing's wrong. Well, unfortunately, if I have a leak in the wall, but the leak is not big enough to keep the water from flowing, that doesn't mean I don't need to check my walls or check the areas where I know I have plumbing for that water runs through the house on occasion, whether it's once a year, once every 6 months, whatever it may be. We have rentals, and when we go to check our rentals, we check the water heater. Though there was one time when we actually went to check the water heater. We were actually checking, I'm sorry, we were checking the air filtration to replace the filter. And the tenant was like, hey, there's no hot water. So we were looking at the hot water heater and I'm like, oh, maybe the pilot's out. And so we're trying to light the pilot. Well, the water heater had failed, but all the water was sitting inside this water heater. So it was like it failed, but it didn't explode out of the water heating unit. And so how easy it is to say, oh, the tenant hasn't called us with any problems, how easy it is to say there's no issues because the tenant hasn't said anything. But we go every quarter and check on our rentals, regardless if they call us and tell us something is wrong or not. We're there. And it happened to be because we were there the day checking on their rentals and they were telling us that the hot water wasn't working. We were able to catch that issue within less than 12 hours. They had hot water the night before. Then all of a sudden the hot water stopped working in the morning time. So we were able to catch that within 12 hours. And I don't know if you know about this, but when there's water damage in a unit, it's not cheap to fix, especially if mold gets involved. So that's really what tool number one is about. Another thing that you can, another example of this would be a car tune-up. When you get your car, especially when you get your first car, you don't really know very much about car maintenance. And if somebody doesn't teach you about car maintenance, your car probably isn't going to last you very long. And I'll come back to why your car won't last you very long, how that applies to us. But your car probably won't last you very long. And so there's a reason why at a certain number of miles, there the manufacturer recommends that you take your car in for a tune-up. That is an opportunity to check all these components that can or may not fail at certain mileage ratio, at certain mileage rates. And so there, that tune-up mentality, the reason why I say whether things are going bad or things are going wrong is because even in our positivity, when we're in the positive spaces in our life, if we don't do these kinds of tune-ups, these kinds of checkups, these kinds of check-ins, what happens is when things go wrong, it feels like, man, everything was going so good, and then everything just started going bad. But really, what happens is your timing belt broke and you didn't know it, and then you ran out of oil, and then you ran out of gas, and now you have a car that's in the shop, and now you have positivity that's in the shop, and you're in a negative space in your life. So that is tool number one. I know, very lengthy, but it was a really important tool that regardless of how things are going in life, you should be doing these check-ins. I recommend, I do not like telling people what to do. I recommend that you do these check-ins regardless of how things are going, whether they're going good or bad. So let's jump to tool number two. Tool number two is sometimes the answer to our struggles are found in our successes. Man, so going back to these challenges that we have when we're trying to figure out, well, why did this go wrong, or how can I fix this? Sometimes the answers to how to fix things that are going wrong are found during the times of positivity. And if we are unwilling to check in and see and evaluate how the positive life is kind of self-powering or powering itself, what will happen is we miss out on some of the opportunities to glean solutions from the positive. I can tell you that in my life, I have been able to glean solutions from negative situations. However, I will tell you that it has been exhausting in learning from the negative. It is so much more revitalizing to learn from the positive perspective. And so that's why this tool really stands out to me, is that in the positive, you're not encumbered by the drain that the negative has on you. In the positive, you're actually at full strength to be able to like take a solution and totally run with how that solution works for you. And so don't be afraid to really evaluate that positive space in your life for that solution, because you never know what solution that you'll get in the positive that will carry you through the negative times. I'm not saying that if you do these positive evaluations, you're never going to have highs and lows. That'd be ridiculous. However, what I am saying is that if in the positive time you're stocking up, whether it's ammunition or your tools in your toolbox or whatever you want to call it, if you're stocking that up during the positive time, during a bountiful season, then when it comes to famine, you'll have some resources to dig out of that toolbox to use to help you navigate the challenges that you're faced with. So that's tool number two. And then finally, tool number three. Man, I want to call this tool, I'm not going to call it this, but tool number three, I want to say, is your only funky is your last cut. However, we're going to call it, it's okay to be better. That's tool number three. It is okay to be better. And what I mean by that is whatever you're doing, whether if your life is in a positive state or whatever you're doing that is positive, we'll say, whatever I did, let's say yesterday, that was positive, that's outdated today. I can't just bring that with me and, oh, well, yesterday I did this, because then 2 days from though, that's 2 days ago, I did this. 3 days ago, I did this. And before you know it, you're Al Bundy on the couch talking about, I had 4 touchdowns in a single game in high school, and you're 20 years removed. So that is the tool number three, is really about becoming better, and it's okay to be better. I know that a lot of people, they'll say, it's as long as you try your best. One of my favorite stories about my oldest son is one day he got in the car from kindergarten. He was like, hey, Dad, today I learned in class that it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. And I was like, I'm so competitive. It's so hard to just let him be the kid and just say, yeah, that's right, because I don't agree with that. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. However, you should be trying to better and improve yourself. So don't go out there with a mentality that I'm going to lose, or don't go out there with the mentality of yesterday I was great, so today I can kick my feet up. Work to be great every single day. Your limitations are only limited by your ability to overcome them. So if you choose that you're not going to be limited by whatever your limitation is, then guess what? Now your imagination and your creativity can kick in, and start coming up with new solutions to help you even overcome limitations that maybe earlier in life you wouldn't have thought that you'd be able to overcome. And I got tons of stories in regards to that. If you want to read some of those stories, you'll have to get the book, Fire Your Job, Hire Your Passion. Shameless plug. Bam, bam. And then lastly, the other part, as far as about it's okay to be better, is that part of being better, whether you're in a positive or negative state, part of being better, what it does is it allows you to continue to help people. When I was struggling, like struggling, and I don't mean financially, I mean mentally struggling. Pulling out of that was really difficult. Fortunately, I have a wonderful tribe of friends that surrounded me, loved me, helped nurture me back to a positive space. But after I got to that positive space, I didn't just stop there. If I would have stopped there, things like the first row would have never come into existence. I would have never written a book. I would have never spoken into people's lives the way that I into people's lives, because I would have just stopped at, "Who, I'm doing better. Great. I'm gonna just stay there." But because I'm willing to actually be okay with getting better, not doing better, not just staying better, but doing and or getting better, meaning each time that I reach a new level, I'll say, okay, great, I'm here now. Now it's time to go up again. Now it's time to go up again. And I'm constantly pushing and thriving to be a better person, a stronger person mentally, a more in touch person emotionally. Because I'm working on those things, that has enabled me to help hundreds at this point, hundreds of people, and I'm really pushing towards thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and millions. That is one of the goals for me. But I realize that if I'm okay with being complacent at one level of happiness, mental health, or financial stability, or whatever, then what happens is at the moment that I stop, I begin to limit the capacity for me to be able to help other people. And really, that's what positive evaluation is about. It's one, about being able to help yourself maintain the state of positivity, but two, being able to help others achieve it. And that's really what this particular topic it has all been about for me. I mean, this topic came up in a conversation where I was trying to figure out why, if a person knew that their behaviors were negative, why they wouldn't address them. And my brain immediately said, it's because they don't see their behaviors as negative. They see their behaviors as either neutral or positive. And when things are neutral or things are positive, we don't address them. We don't evaluate them. However, that's what this story is about, or that's what this Wednesday word is about, is taking that time, that intentional time to evaluate. So really quick to go over the three tools that I had for you on the first row. The very first tool being struggles. Sorry, I just skipped the line. Sorry. Don't let how things are going determine whether or not you evaluate. If things are going bad, neutral, or positive, always have some time scheduled, whether it's in the week, the day, the month, or the year. Have some time to take some time to reflect and evaluate why things are going the way they're going and what solutions you can get from them. Tool number two, sometimes the answers to our struggles are found in our successes. If you're not paying attention while you're successful, you're going to have that much more time in the struggle. And the opportunity is not that you'll never hit the opportunity is not that you will never hit struggle. That's not a realistic opportunity. At some point in life, we'll hit struggles. Even where I'm at now, which is a really good place, I'm sure I'll have some struggles. They might not be as low as the ones that I had in my teenage years or in my 20s. However, I will still hit some struggles. The opportunity there, though, is to take the tools that I have in the positive and lift myself out of those struggles a little bit faster. And then tool number three is it's okay to get better. It's okay to outdo yourself every single day. Do not have the Al Bundy syndrome where you're talking about some type of great success that you had 4 years ago. Have successes in the present and really strive to bring your successes into the present. So if you did something yesterday and it was great, duplicate it and then do something else with it. Add to it, build. So that's the three tools that I have for you today. As always with the Wednesday word, I like to share a personal story, that something that either resonated with me about this particular concept or that got me thinking about this concept. In this particular story, I actually started thinking about my struggles with depression during adolescence and into my 20s, well into my 20s. But my struggles with depression. And I would think about, like, during the times I would be depressed, the types of solutions, number one, that I would come up with were not good solutions. Like suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, because the problem cannot exist forever without you giving power to it, at least. So like I would think about suicide, I would think about fighting people, I would just have all these negative solutions that I would come up with in my depressed state. But then people would like crowd around me, kind of elevate me up and out of that, because it was definitely not something at the time that I was capable of doing myself. Um, but then I'd be at this good space and things would be going well, and people be like, "Oh yeah, Billy's a great guy to be around," and all these wonderful things. Billy, yeah, 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 rah, rah, rah. And I wouldn't even take the time to say, hey, in this space that I'm in while things are good, what are some of the tools that I could begin to start stockpiling for if, not when? Well, in my case back then, it was when depression comes again. But if depression comes again, if that unfortunate opportunity of struggle presents itself again, I wasn't stockpiling the tools. And so today, well, not today, but in the present, um, I am now in a space where I am probably at a mental space that is so beyond where I've come from, so much further than where I was used to being, that if I chose to not really evaluate, I would be missing out on tons and tons and tons of opportunity. Part of doing Wednesday words, part of doing thoughts of the day is that check in and that evaluation with myself. I share it with the world. However, it's a check in with myself and say, Billy, where are your thoughts at today? What tools can you take from what you're learning? What tools can you take from the conversations that you're having while things are going great? So, should I have another unfortunate opportunity with depression, what tools now can I apply to myself? What things can I do? I can go to the Instagram account and look at over 500. I think it's over 500 thoughts of the day that I've had, things that are inspiring to me, these tools that I'm building during this positive space, during this positive moment in my life. And I have to say, like I said, I am at a mental space that is so healthy for me now that it is really hard to even imagine not having the tools that I didn't have back then, because I've invested so much time on trying to make myself better. And also not just putting the tools in the bag, but saying, hey, you know what, that hammer, it was really cool in 1981. However, in 2020, they have this new version of a hammer that I can upgrade to. So I'm also refreshing my tools as I go in this positivity. So that's what this Wednesday Word is about: positive evaluations. I hope you have enjoyed this Wednesday Word. It's something like, really, there's like some energy bubbling in me in regards to this particular topic, because it's something that spoke to me so profoundly that I could not wait to share it. But to let you know what's coming up on the first row, the next time you will see me live will be next Wednesday, February 2nd. We'll be doing another Wednesday Word, and that Wednesday Word's title will be Investing 101. If you want to know what that's about, you're going to have to tune in live or catch the replay if you want, but I prefer you to be live. Tune in live, catch what that one's about. Also, do not forget, if you have not done so, go to www.1stwroe.com. That's firstrow.com, and check out the book that will be released in approximately 20 days. I'm just doing some rough math. Released on February 15th. It's my book, Fire Your Job, Hire Your Passion. I cannot tell you how much the journey of writing this book has inspired and empowered me. So I cannot wait until you guys get your hands on this book and begin to shift the direction of your life and your energy and your intentionality. So those are the things that we have coming up. Don't forget to get the book, pre-order, and also join us next week for the Wednesday Word. That's at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have to figure out anywhere in between there. But until the next time, if you like this video, share it. If you share it, like it. I'm always happy to engage with you in the live chat. Thank you for those who have joined us on the live. But if you're not on the live and you're watching via the replay, I am also happy to engage with you up to the first 7 days of the content being up in the comments. So until then, if you like it, share it. If you share it, like it. Again, until the next time, one love, peace, and God bless. Thanks for sitting on the first row.